Well, hello everybody. It's Dr. Carmen Bryant. This is Car Chronicles. You guys ready? All right, let's do this. Look at the weather out here in Washington. Rainy, foggy, my kind of weather. Kind of reminds me of Germany because that's where I'm from. I love it. Okay, well, anyway, let's get to what we're talking about. You ready? Let's do this. I said this before. I don't know if I did the video or I just said this in the video. Stop telling people what a great father or mother these narcissists are and you're being abused. You know, the thing is that sometimes people can't wrap their mind around the fact that a narcissist abuses everybody to include their kids. And sometimes it's so subtle, you don't realize that they are, it's hard when you're in the situation. Sometimes it takes a third person to look in and tell you. And then you are in a mode of denial. You are in denial. And so your thing is, but they don't treat my kids the way that they treat me. But they're treating you that way. And just like I said, that's what it was. It was the New Year's video that I did. You know, just because you think that they're not treating your kids a certain way, your children are watching the abuse happen. There's something that's called secondary trauma. So you have PTSD, and then you also have vicarious trauma or secondary trauma. If you go read about PTSD, some PTSD is not from the trauma that directly happened to the person, but it's the secondary trauma, meaning that they watch the trauma happen to somebody else. And so they're watching you go through this trauma, the verbal abuse, the physical abuse, I remember this young lady saying that she was pregnant and the guy got mad and left her, just kicked her out the car on the side of the highway. She's like 8-9 months pregnant on the side of a highway. Now imagine your kids watching this, or, you're anything but your name. They call you anything but your name. They're watching you, dads. They're watching you, and this woman totally abuse you, call you anything, and you're trying to be the best father that you can be to your children, and you don't want to leave because your kids need you. Do you know that your kids need you healthy too? Do you know that you can father or you can mother your children even if that narcissist is not in the home, because you are traumatizing your kids? You are traumatizing your kids, and some of your kids are going to therapy and they have PTSD. They have complex PTSD by watching what happened to you. I remember when I was young, and I was watching someone else being abused in the back of our house. And I remember till this day, my leg started shaking. I started, you pat your leg. I was only probably like 7 years old. I remember my leg was patting. My dad went out there to bring the young lady in the house, but she was being abused by the guy that was in the back. But I witnessed it. I saw it happening. And so my leg was patting. And so that was my mode of calming myself down. But I remember the feeling in my chest, and everything was cold. And I don't even know if it was the summertime or not, but it was cold. All of a sudden I got cold. But I remember watching that. It was horrifying to me because I had never seen that before. And so imagine what your children are looking at. Your children can't protect you. And so they're little people that are trying to protect you and jumping in the way, or, but they don't mistreat your kids. Your kids are being mistreated because guess what? They're being groomed, and they're also being taught that the mother or the father, I'm in control. And so they're compliant because they don't want to go through what they see you going through. And then stop saying that but he's a good father and he takes care of his kids. Finances, okay, that's cool. But how is he emotionally, or how is she emotionally treating those kids? Because you know that you get ghosted. You know that you get the silent treatment. And anytime that they can't get something from the child gets old enough to make their own decision. The child gets old enough to determine that I don't want to go visit you anymore. And then all of a sudden they've got this guilt game being played on them. They're being manipulated. They're being gaslighted. Kids are being gaslighted too. Kids are being gaslighted too, so they feel obligated. Well, I love my mom and my dad. I just don't want to hear his mouth, or I don't want to hear her mouth, and I just don't want to hurt their feelings. You got to let your kids know that they have a voice, and that no is a complete sentence. You teach them not to be codependent. But the thing is that for a lot of parents, it's not about your kids, it's about you. So you're trying to stay connected by allowing them, I don't want to go too far because I want them to have visitations. I want them to spend time with their kids. Your kids are a pawn in the game of chess. And so your kids are being played by you and the narcissist. The narcissist keeps tabs on you, has inappropriate conversations with them, puts them on they parentify your kids. They have emotional incest. And some of you guys, you watched my video before. Emotional incest is not a sexual thing. Emotional incest is when they take a child and put them on the same level as they are, with the expectation that the child is supposed to resolve their issues or supposed to give them answers to their problems that they're not old enough to be able to handle or speak on. They don't have enough life experiences, but they put them on the same level and they start having conversations. And some of them have conversations about their romantic relationships. They have conversations about you, and you're trying to tell them stop having, they just don't understand. He's broken, she's broken. And so I just have to kind of teach them. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. And you're playing into the game because guess what? You don't want to disconnect. I said it, and I know you upset at me, but it is what it is. And I remember the last time I posted something like this, people made the comment like, oh, that is untrue. And what it was is that you're selling your soul to the narcissist. And I think someone says that's not true. You did sell your soul to the narcissist because you gave up all your emotions. You poured your emotions in. You never lose yourself in a relationship or in a situationship. Likewise, in this situation, when you're dealing with kids, you're talking about what a great parent these people are and how wonderful they are. And I don't want to separate. No, you the one that don't want to separate. You don't want to disconnect. You have not taken the time to disconnect from that narcissist. And the only way you can still get attention, the only way you can still get some conversation because you haven't dealt with the pain in your heart is the fact that you use the kids as an excuse because you want to make sure that you see them. If I can just see them, you're saying it in the back of your mind, but you won't say it verbally. And when people tell you and they pick up on it and they say something to you, you get upset and you try to explain yourself, over-explain yourself. Every child needs a father. Every child needs a mother. At the expense of their mental health, at the expense of your child growing up and they becoming a predator too, at the expense of your child growing up and they become abused as well, and they repeat exactly what they've seen in their home, they replicate it, and then that when children go through what they go through as they get older is worse than what you go through or what you went through, and then you're in denial, even in denial as adults when you're watching them go through the exact same thing that you go through or went through. You guys got to stop making up these excuses. This is the year of no more excuses. You got to come out of that denial. No, you're trying to stay connected with that parent. So you're trying to come up with any reason as to why you go by your feelings. Why are you going by your feelings? Some of you don't even have parenting plans in place. And you're giving them, no, put it on paper. Put it on paper so they have to follow the papers. And do know they're going to punish you by not going to see the child, by making it inconvenient for you. When you need assistance with child care, or you need someone to pick up the child, you're going to have to start being the single parent. And stop relying on them. If they help, that's a plus. If they don't, you already know that was in their mind. They're not trying to help you. They're trying to make it harder because they're trying to punish you. But in the midst of trying to punish you for doing better, in the midst of trying to do better for yourself, or trying to get, your own place to stay, get a job, you're finally free of this narcissist. You're doing much better than you have before. They don't like it, so they punish you. And they punish you by not going to pick up the kids, not spending time with the kids, because the most precious thing to you is your children. And so the thing they go after is they go after the most precious thing, and that is your child. And listen to you single parents that are out here dating. Do you know that you have predators out here that prey on single parents, male and female alike, that prey on single parents because their focus is your child? You have pedophiles out there that pretend to be interested in you, and they try to be the father or the mother that your child doesn't have, and the whole focus is your child. Stop being so ignorant. Ignorant means you lack the knowledge. You getting the information is out there all over YouTube. People are talking about it, and you're in denial, and you're so desperate because you want to be in a relationship, end up in a situationship, and your children are being violated. Come on, y'all. Then you have those that pretend not all narcissists are pedophiles. Not all narcissists are pedophiles. However, the narcissist does not have the capacity to love anybody. And they will use your weakness, meaning that they'll play father figure or mother figure in order to get into your life. And then they totally mistreat your children. Let me tell you something. Just like in a lion pride, when a lion takes over a pride and kills the main lion that used to be in charge of the pride, or runs off the main lion, that lion kills all the offsprings from that last lion to get the scent out of there, and reproduces with the lionesses to create a whole nother pride with whole new babies. Do understand that when a narcissist comes into your life, and I'm going to do a video about that, when a narcissist comes into your life and you have sons or daughters by someone else, they go after them because they belong to someone else. There is somebody else's child, and they go after your child and abuse your child because of that.